AMG. As spectacular as the car is to look on the outside, the C63 has got equally sensational interiors. But this coupe style, of course, has got 4 seats on the inside. To access that rear seat, all you need to do is just tilt the seat ahead and, well, the seat will move ahead by itself. I'm 5'9", and there's just about enough room over here at the head. Now to get seats back again, and here's an interesting feature. The seat detects essentially where your knees are, and if it tries, it will not squeeze you in. Instead, it will just move up ahead and create enough room for you in the rear. Now, it's not the most comfortable place to be in, but 2 teenagers, well, they can easily fit in here and be happy about the journey. Not very long journeys, mind you, short ones, but they'd be comfortable. Now let me show you what the front end is all about. This is where it gets truly spectacular. I love the layout of the dashboard, the steering wheel, all that buffed aluminium all over the place, the carbon fiber inserts on the center console, even that small screen out there. Lovely, lovely touches all across. But here's the most interesting bit on this car. The C63, well, it's more sports car-like than a muscle car that it used to be. And Mercedes-Benz AMG has added in these 2 controllers right here on the steering wheel, a circular knob on one end and another one on the left side of the steering wheel, just under the left arm. This allows you to control all of those functions that you'd want for dynamic modes. The other one allows you to control, of course, again, suspension settings, the sports exhaust system, whether you want it louder or just the normal tone. Even allows you to control between manual and automatic transmission. The circular knob out here and this controller, well, a simple switch just allows you to flick between the driving modes. That one, of course, is in slippery conditions. So all over, this cabin is fantastic. These seats, they really grip, and they grip well. And they've only got the cooling and heating functions. Unfortunately, these seats don't come with that massage function. It would have been so good to have that after a race. Time now to head out on a drive and tell you more about what this car is capable of doing. The C63 AMG always held a very special place in my heart because the first time I drove a fast car, a muscle car, was the C63 AMG. The first time I drove a muscle car fast was a C63 AMG. The most powerful car that I'd first driven was the C63 AMG. So you see, it kind of formed a very strong bond with me, and I've loved this car ever since. And this, the latest generation C63, well, it's just as special to me. I found some fantastic roads out here, close to home, which is Bombay, and the C63 allows me to do a whole host of things. So while the first C63 that I drove, fantastic for straight line speeds, not too bad in the corners, this car is a whole new beast. AMG have taken it to a whole new level. What's interesting is that this is now more of a sports car than a muscle car. Am I too happy about that? I'm not entirely sure. But I do appreciate the fact that this car is capable of doing just so much more. It's so much nicer in the twisties. And with all of those abilities, I do remember a time when me and an ex-colleague had driven the C63 and the M3 back to back, and that M3 was just intense. The C63, well, it just had so much of character. It is just a beast. But the M3, it was finesse. This C63 is miles ahead of what the C63 used to be. Faster, quicker, far more precise, sharper, agile, you name it. This car is just It's a thrill a second. Woohoo! Got some air there. What a fantastic motor. This V8 is an absolute delight. Mercedes-Benz offers the C63 in standard version in India. Now this car comes with a 4-litre V8 with a twin turbo system. Now this engine, of course, like all other AMGs, is hand-built by one single person at their factory in a Falterbach. Now this V8, the bi-turbo, is a hot in V, which means the turbochargers sit in between the banks of cylinders. So in between those 8 cylinders, there are 2 turbochargers, one feeding each bank of cylinders, and it makes a phenomenal amount of power. This is 476 horsepower with 650 Newton meters of torque. It's just ridiculous. This thing is fast, and how 0 to 100 Mercedes-Benz claims 4.6 seconds. But on our tests, we got 5.6, and that's only because it was a wet, rainy day. The surface conditions were just not right. But let me just slow down a bit over here. This is a fantastic engine. It's mated to a fantastic transmission. That's the dual clutch speed shift, which has got 9 ratios. And it's incredibly quick to shift between gears. All of that, well, also breathes out through a sports exhaust system, and that's where this phenomenal note comes from. It's a loud car. And it's just got so much of character. It's just got so much character. Like every other AMG, Mercedes-Benz offers a host of driving modes on this, from Sport Plus to Sport, Comfort, Individual. The C63 gets one more mode, which is the slippery conditions. That's for when it's icy or wet conditions. That effectively adds on layers or a larger safety net just to make sure you stay on the road. But each of these modes alters the responses from the engine, the suspension, and even the transmission. Various maps alter the responses from the engine. It alters the shift times. In Sport and Sport Plus, it allows you to hold the rev needle closer to the red line. It alters the suspension characteristics. It even alters the exhaust note. Of course, Sport Plus, keep in mind, also takes off a lot of those safety nets. So you just need to be careful about what you do in a car that's this powerful, that delivers all those 476 horses straight to the rear wheel. This is not a car for the faint-hearted. I'm just grinning from ear to ear. That's how fantastic this car is. And before I come to urban limits, where these roads are just fantastic, twisty, smooth, I haven't seen roads like this. And this C63, I haven't driven a car like this. The handling is spot on, the steering is just so incredibly precise. That is how intense this car is. But more on the practical side. This is a 4-seater coupe, and what you'd want from a car of this order is good ride comfort. And if you're driving it inside city limits, if you've got bad roads, even at its best, which is the comfort setting, this car is pretty stiff. Remember, it rides on 18-inch wheels and tires. The suspension, the electronically adjustable, the adaptive dampers, now these alter itself to the driving conditions you put this car under, but even those are pretty stiff in comfort mode. In Sport, it gets far harder. In Sport Plus, it can be quite exhausting, quite tiresome. Here's what I also like about the C63. Get it down into comfort mode, and you can drive this car like a regular sedan. It's quiet, it's refined, it's plush, and except for that stiffer ride quality, it's just an absolutely everyday car. This is something I'd love to use to go to work every single day. Alright, enough talking, let's get back to it. No. On the practicality front, the fuel efficiency on the C63, given the 8 cylinders, given that enormous horsepower, that torque, the kind of performance she's capable of, you think that this is an incredibly thirsty car. Well, think again. On the highway runs, I got 12 kilometers to a litre. In the city, that came down to 6.5 kmpl, which is not bad at all for a car of this order. Now, if you thought the C63 AMG is an extraordinary sports car, well, it's not just a sports car, it's just so much more than that. For all of that younger generation that is so clued in to technology, well, there is an enormous list of tech in this car. So not only can you select your various drive modes, like I told you, the Sport Plus, the Sport, the Comfort, the individual mode or the slippery mode, but you can also select whether you're at a race day, at a track event, at a drag event. It'll also throw up all sorts of information for you about what you did at the racetrack, how fast you went, what were your track times like. It allows you to analyze all of those telemetry and see just how good or bad you were on the racetrack. And then there's just so much more. All of that information, that telemetry, can also be thrown up on your HUD. That's your heads-up display. It's just phenomenal, the things that this car can do. Mercedes-Benz AMG has taken the C63 to a whole new level. This is now a sports car. It's no longer just a muscle car. I've had an incredibly exciting day. It's been a long day, a lot of filming, but man, what a rush. This has just been an incredibly quick day. And what I do like about the C63 is that it pushes the envelope so far ahead. I'd even go as far as saying this is the closest alternative to a Porsche.